Hello and welcome to STV Google Plus Hangout on Transfer Deadline Day. I'm joined by Gary Cocker, a Dundee fan, and by Ross County fan John Maxwell. We're going to talk a little bit about how their clubs have done through the transfer window. Maybe not the most exciting of deadline days so far, but if I can maybe start with you, Gary, and ask you if you could grade your club's transfer window, what would you award them?
I would think it would probably have to be an A minus at the moment, and even saying A minus feels a wee bit harsh. I think the only things that we're really missing is some real defensive cover. I think tonight, I've seen on STV that we've offered a contract to Lewis Toshney, who was at the club a couple of seasons ago, and he would be perfect. He can cover right across the back, and that's really what we need, because if we lose Conrad or McPake, or if we lose Willie Dyer for a long period of time, we don't really have cover back there. The only other area that we really struggle slightly in at the moment is up front, and I think that's more really of a confidence thing than anything else. I think once Peter McDonald goes on a real run, or once Luka Tankulic gets his first goal, we'll really kick on from there. Aside from that, I think Paul Hartley's done a tremendous job. We've got enough cover in midfield to take practically an entire team's worth of injuries. I think he's bought really well. It's a good blend of experience and youth. And I think that that's really manifested itself in the way that we've started the season so far.
Excellent stuff, Gary. John, what are your feelings on how County have gone? It's obviously been an interesting, at times traumatic summer for you guys.
I really don't know where to start, Jamie. Well, with the grade, I guess it would be a D, and that's probably been a bit complimentary. I've liked one or two. Joe Cardle's done all right, I guess, in patches. In the long term, I'm not sure if he's going to be. I don't know. I don't think he'll go down as a legend at the club. He's probably a bit erratic. He's a game changer on his own, but I think Graham Carey in the same position is probably a better player. Ben Frempa, I think he's a terribly exciting prospect, but he's 19 years old. He's going to make mistakes, but he wins every ball in the air that comes into the box. But then you've got the likes of Uros Seltzer at left back, who has made a number of mistakes. He got sent off at the weekend. He lets far too many crosses in. The same goes for Jim Fenlon, who's tidy going forward, but is not really. Well, he's around 20 years old himself, and I think County are really missing a lot of experience. They signed Michael Gardine today on loan for 6 months. I don't really know what that's about, in all honesty. He's a bit of a he was a hero in the first division title-winning team, but these are different circumstances. The squad is really quite top-heavy now. I mean, I'd say probably the biggest positive thing that came out of last season was the duo up front between Johan Arquan and Melvin DeLeo, and I thought, well, you've just got to go with these two guys up front. But they've signed so many forwards that I just don't know how they're going to play together anymore. And but when you've got the likes of Michael Gardine coming in, it just exacerbates the situation. So I'd say D, but now thinking about it, it's probably an E.
Gary, how would you say that your expectations of the season have changed throughout the summer transfer window from your first couple of signings up until today?
I'd say at the very start of the season, or immediately after we were promoted, I was aware that we really needed to change the team. We needed to, do a real root and branch overhaul of the personnel we had. Obviously, the last time we were in the SPL, we didn't do that, and look where that got us. And we still actually had a lot of the players we had the last time we were in the SPL. So at first, I wasn't quite sure what Hartley would do. I wasn't sure if he would keep a lot of the same personnel, but try to improve in certain areas and reward the players that got us promoted in the first place, or if he would make the tough choices that had to be made. And to be fair, he made the tough choices. So had we kept largely the same squad that got us promoted, I would have said that we'd be struggling all season. But as we sign more and more players, And as I saw the calibre of players he was going for as well, we did all of our business pretty much by the middle of July, which I think showed that he had a plan in place and that he went out to execute that plan. Whereas previously, you saw us scrabbling around in 2012, just signing anyone that was available. So my expectations have shifted somewhat, and now I think most Dundee fans recognise that we're probably not going to be struggling this season. That doesn't mean that we'll be, qualifying for Europe or anything like it. But I would say the very top end of our ambition would be to maybe scrap into the top six. But realistically, we're probably going to finish around about 8th or 9th.
John, I was interested to hear Gary say that Paul Hartley looked to have a plan, and he executed it very quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
There was a lot of discussion about Derek Adams going out and buying a lot of players in the foreign market. Do you feel that that was his plan, and he had also looked to execute that, but it's gone the other way?
Well, it has. If you look back to 2012-13, in the January transfer window, that's when this short-termism really kicked in, and it was a good thing at that point because they had the first division title-winning team that was struggling to adapt to the Premiership a little bit. But then he brought in players from abroad like Evangelos Economou and Andre Haenel and a few others, and they were terrific. But they were only in short-term deals, and they couldn't really entice them to stay much longer due to finances or whatever else. So, I mean, then they had to go back and try to replace those players, and some of those worked, some of those didn't. So then they came to January and had to do it all over again. And the Derek Adams has always had a game plan, but the short-termism just became a bit of a vicious circle that he couldn't get out, and that was his downfall, and that was also due to his father George, who well, I guess they were a bit of a team when it came to the transfer dealings. It's a shame that the way that happened. I mean, Paul Hartley's done great by comparison with knowing exactly what he's done, and Ross County's success has come in the past when they've had all their players signed up at the start of the season, but especially with this season, it just didn't happen, and it wasn't a particularly good pre-season, and the season's barely started yet.
Yeah. Just finally, guys, and John, I'll stick with you here. What would you like to see County do now? Obviously, the free agent market remains open. Where would you like to see the club go, and what positions really need to be strengthened?
Well, they need a player with experience somewhere in defence. I think they need a commanding centre back. I think between Jordi Bach and Ben Frempa, they've got someone there, but they're only about 39 years old between them. I'd say they really need to strengthen at left back. I think they need a better option in Euro Seltzer, who's got a tidy left foot, but defensively he's letting too many opportunities happen. I think the Darren Barr deal has gone through. If not, it will go through today. So right back, I think they'll be strengthened. The other thing that they desperately need is a player in the centre of midfield who can hold on to the ball, collect the ball from the defenders and distribute it, because they really struggle with that. Otherwise, the ball, no matter their best intentions, the ball always falls back to Scott Boyd at centre back, and he looks long as he's always done. I mean, that's what happens when a player's come from the second division and gone all the way to the Premiership. Doesn't always have the technical qualities. So you need to build your team around that. And if there was one player I would ask for back, it would be Paul Lawson. He would fit perfectly.
Gary, yourself obviously mentioned the interest from Dundee in Paul Tosh and Lewis Toshney rather this summer. That's something that could go through. Is there anywhere else that you would like to see Dundee go?
I think defence is definitely the main place that we need to strengthen. I mean, as I said earlier, Conrad and McPake have got a terrific partnership. I think in the 6 competitive games we've played this season, we've only conceded 3, and a lot of that is because of that solid partnership that they've built up. But as we all know, James McPake's got some history with injuries, and I think it's only a matter of time before one or the other of them's out for a period of time. Our only sort of other option in the middle of defence has gone out on loan to Alloa, Kyle Benedictus, for the rest of the season. So that means that if either of them is injured, we either need to put Gary Irvin, who's one of our backup fullbacks, in the middle, or we need to put Ian Davidson, who's sort of been transformed into this midfielder come defender. And neither of those are really ideal options. And although we're not scoring as many as I'd like us to, I think we've got enough different options. We've got Roberts and Boyle out on the wing. Harkins and McGowan could even play up front in a very strange way. We've still got Tan Kulic and young Craig Whiten and Peter McDonald as well. So we've got lots of options up there, but we don't have enough at the back. And my real fear is that if Conrad or McPake goes down injured in the next few weeks, that's them out. Willie Dyer's out at the moment as well, and we begin to have a really makeshift defence. And given that our solid start to the season's depended a lot on that defensive solidity, I'd be really, really concerned if we don't get someone in soon.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the Google Plus Hangout. All the best to your teams for the season. I hope your teams can get the players in the positions that they need to strengthen.